Hi, this is Lara at Elliott Wave Gold with your daily analysis for Thursday, the 26th of March. I'm recording the video just gone 3:25 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. Yesterday's analysis was expecting a little bit more upward movement to complete the structure. The target was 1204, but that was comfortably exceeded by just less than $16. I expect that we've probably had a trend change for both wave counts, at least in the short term. I'm expecting downward movement for 2 or 3 days, but possibly even up to 5 days at the most. However, this trend change is unconfirmed. We need to see that channel on the hourly chart breached before I will have any confidence in this trend change. The target for downward movement is at 1172. If we see a new low below 1142.82 in the next few days or 1 or 2 weeks, then the main wave count will substantially reduce in probability in favour of the alternate. Let's have a look at the wave counts at the daily chart level. The main wave count sees a big trend change at primary and cycle degree down here, and a new upward trend for a cycle degree B wave. There are more than 13 possible corrective structures a B wave can take, and of all the waves, it is B waves which exhibit the greatest variety in form and structure. They're the hardest to analyse. What I am confident of so far with this B wave is this first upward movement is a 5-wave structure. I cannot see it as a 3. If you want to try and label it as a 3, you'd probably try A, B, C. The problem is within A, the structure could only be a diagonal. It just won't subdivide as an impulse. You'd label that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the problem is the third wave of the contracting diagonal would be slightly longer than the first wave, so the rules for wavelengths of a contracting diagonal would not be met. So I am confident that this upward movement can't be seen as a 3, but it subdivides perfectly as a 5-wave leading expanding diagonal. It's followed by a very deep zigzag for a B wave. So cycle wave B could be as labelled a simple zigzag subdividing 5, 3, 5. When this 5 up for primary C is complete, I will have alternate wave counts which see cycle B as incomplete. At that stage, it could be a completed zigzag, but equally as likely, we could move the degree of labelling within the whole movement for cycle B down 1 degree. That could be wave A of a flat, wave W of a double combination, or wave W of a double zigzag. It could also be wave A of a triangle. All of those possibilities will be open and they will all be equally as likely. To keep the number of charts at a minimum, I'm just going to keep this one with the primary degree labelled as is until this big zigzag is over and focus on looking for the end of this 5-wave up structure for primary C. At 1320 it will reach equality in length with primary wave A. If price gets to the first target and the structure is incomplete, or if it just keeps on rising through the first target, then the next likely place for it to end would be 1429, where primary C would reach 1.618, the length of primary A. Because primary A was a diagonal, in order to see alternation, I'd expect primary C to most likely be a simple impulse. We will have this wave count confirmed at primary and cycle degree if there's a new high at any stage above 1308.10, although I would have a lot more confidence in it well before that if I'm discarding the alternate, and I'll explain why when I get to that wave count. For now, if primary B were to continue any further, it may not move beyond the start of A below 1131.09. We've got some increase in upward momentum today for this candlestick, a small increase in volume also at the daily chart level. This looks like, at the hourly chart level, a pretty typical 5th wave blow-off. Let's have a look at it, where this movement begins here, this point here. So far, within this upward movement, it does subdivide best as a 5-wave impulse. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 4, and a slightly extended 5th wave. This 5th wave is extended and shows an increase in upward momentum. It breaks above the upper edge of the Elliott channel. It looks like a really typical strong 5th wave to end this movement. I'm confident with the labelling of this 4th wave triangle, and I had expected the 5th wave to be shorter to reach equality in length with the 1st wave. The target was 1204, but that was comfortably breached in that last hour. This all looks really typical, and I'm reasonably confident of expecting that minor wave 1 is over, but we do not have confirmation of that. I want to see this trend channel clearly breached with at least one full hourly candlestick below this pink trend line and not touching it before I have confidence that minor 1 is over and minor 2 would then be underway. A new low below 1186.78 would provide some price confirmation of this trend change. That's the end of minute 4 and the start of minute 5. If price moves below this point, it can't be a second wave correction within the final fifth wave. The final fifth wave then cannot be extending. So if I've labelled this triangle correctly, then a new low below this point gives price confirmation that minor 1 is over and minor 2 down would then be underway. Minor 1 lasted 7 days, one short of a Fibonacci 8. I'd expect minor 2 to most likely last 2 or 3 days, but it could be a bit longer in duration, maybe lasting 5 days. It's a second wave, so it's most likely to reach down to the 0.618 Fibonacci ratio of minor 1 at 1172. It doesn't have to be that deep, it's just the most common tendency for a second wave. It can't move beyond the start of 1 below 1142.82. We have some pretty persistent divergence with MACD trending lower while prices moved higher, and this all points to at least a short-term correction beginning about now. This is the alternate wave count, which looks at the possibility that cycle A and primary 5 are incomplete, that primary 5 will reach equality in length with primary 1 at 956.97 and has still got several weeks or months to unfold to the downside. Within primary 5, intermediate wave 1 ends off to the left of the chart, intermediate 2 is an expanded flat, intermediate 3 may only be an impulse. So far within it, it has an extended first wave and now a second wave correction, which really should be over here. If it were to continue any further, it can't move beyond the start of 1 above 1308.10, but long before that price point is passed, I would discard this wave count. If upward movement again breaches the upper edge of this maroon trend channel, I will discard this wave count. Because this trend line is copied over from the weekly chart, it's a channel containing all of cycle wave A. If cycle A is incomplete, then while primary 5 within it unfolds, this channel should not be breached. It is clearly breached at the daily chart level, and it's breached with one candlestick at the weekly chart level, and that reduces the probability of this alternate. But I still retain this alternate because within intermediate waves 1 and 2, it does have a better fit. It has better fit in terms of structure, better Fibonacci ratios and relationships in time. It has less problems apart from this channel breach. If this wave count's correct, we should be seeing a third wave of a third wave begin strongly to the downside. This should be confirmed with a new low below this point, 1142, and then a new low below 1131.09, and it should happen reasonably quickly. Let's have a look at this at the hourly chart level where minor 1 ends here, this point here. From this low to this high, this movement is ambiguous. There are so many subdivisions within it, it's possible to see it as a 3 or a 5. I do think it fits better as a 5, and when I try and see it as a 3, it looks like I'm ignoring the rather obvious triangle in this position. If it's a 3, then minute wave A is an impulse over here, minute B is a zigzag, but its C wave is slightly truncated, and the final fifth wave is seen in the same way for both wave counts. With this wave count, I would be expecting also that we've had a trend change, but this one should see some very strong downward movement. We also need to wait for a breach of the channel around the upward movement before we can have any confidence that there is a high in place. If this wave count is correct, we should get that channel breach quite quickly. At 1055, minor 3 would reach equality in length with minor 1. That target expects that the third wave will be extended like the first wave was, which means that the final fifth wave within intermediate 3 should be shorter. That's all for me today with your gold analysis, and I hope that all our members are having a fabulous day.